There's so many things that can trigger depression, from biological reasons to the sun going down earlier. In this video, I'm going to break down the top 3 things that I think trigger depression and how I was able to work through them myself. Now, Johann Hari studied the causes of depression, and he wrote a book on it, and he gave this TED Talk, and at the end of his TED Talk, he said, "Your depression is a signal." And that's how he thinks, and I also agree with him, but that's how he thinks we should start looking at our depression. What is this depression signaling to us? Instead of thinking that we're broken, instead of thinking that there's something wrong with us because we're in a depression, think of it as a way that our body is trying to tell us something. Usually, it's something along the lines of our needs not being met. Now, in his book, he outlines 9 causes for depression, but again, in this video, I'm just gonna hit the top 3 that I think are affecting the most people, and the third one being the most common. But I wanna start out here, number 1, with what I think is the heaviest hitter. And this is negative thoughts and beliefs. I think this is number 1. I think so many of us are growing up into this programming of us not being good enough. I think a lot of us are born into, or whatever our upbringing was, our environment was, things were not cool in a way where our programming was such that everything seemed to be out of reach, whether it was a parent or some authoritative figure making us feel like we were not good enough. We internalize that voice later on in life, and it is continuing to give us that same belief, that same thought of not being good enough. This was the number 1 thing that I brought when I was doing therapy the past couple of years, and it was pretty intense. We did a lot of workshops, we did a lot of exposure therapy, we met like twice a week, and I did things outside of therapy. One of the main things that I did was I started with this book called The Power of Positive Thinking, because what are we going to need to dismantle the negative thoughts and beliefs? Well, we got to shift into the positive. So the first thing that I was doing along with therapy was I picked up this book from the library called The Power of Positive Thinking. And I also put out a video of this book a little while ago as well that you can also watch. But that book sort of outlined how to start shifting gears away from the negative thinking and into that of the positive. And along with that, the other work that I was doing was meditation and affirmations, getting myself to have positive self-talk, positive internal dialogue, and notice when the negative thoughts were coming up. This in therapy was like a rewiring process. This was as much of a mental thing as it was a spiritual thing, because these types of wounds, they cut deep. When they are at the root of our core of a person, they are really how we see the world. Our beliefs are like sunglasses that we can put on top of our face, and as soon as we put those glasses on, the world is darker. We see the world from the beliefs that we have of it. So chances are, if we see ourselves as not good enough, the world we see is reflecting that back to us. So in order to spin that whole cycle around, it was about rewiring, looking for the wins, not the losses. So taking those glasses off, putting on rose-colored glasses, trying to find the wins and the positive and the silver lining in things instead of the negative stuff. And I also think that a lot of us have conditioned negativity by way of being realistic. This is another video that I made a while ago for artists to stop being realistic, because chances are being realistic is being negative in disguise. You know, it's really doubting ourselves. So that's what I think is the number one cause for depression. It's when we lose our battle with our negative thoughts, when we lose our battle with our negative beliefs. All right, number 2, uncertainty. When times are uncertain, when the future is unknown, that causes us to spiral. What are we gonna do? What's next? Am I gonna work here forever? I'm not making enough money. How am I gonna, all of these things that are unknown will tend to spiral. And this goes hand in hand with having negative beliefs and negative thoughts and a negative ego, a negative smaller self that is always whispering in our ear how we're not doing good enough. When we have that type of thinking, when we have times of uncertainty, they tend to be just that much more stressful. And when that future is unknown, we start to question ourselves. We start to question what we're doing, especially as artists. We start to question, is it worth it? Am I gonna make it? Should I just give up now? What is the safest thing? Our ego tries to keep us in safety. It tries to keep us in our comfort zone. And chances are it keeps us from taking risks. So when there's uncertain times and opportunities that have an uncertain future, a lot of people don't know how to make those kinds of decisions. And that is something that I think triggers depression for so many people, just not knowing that they're going to be okay. And for me, this was pretty much like, I don't know what I should be doing in life, not having a direction, not having a purpose. This is like, everything is up in the air. Everything is up in the air, and I think that can cause depressions. And so what I was doing about it and what you can do about it is really ask yourself, what do you want? I'm gonna channel my inner Ryan Gosling, from The Notebook. What do you want? What do you want? And this is something that I had to really ask myself. What do I want out of life? And by pondering that question, I brought that to visualization meditations and visualization practices. This is something that I've learned from people like Joe Dispenza, from Neville Goddard, from Abraham Hicks, from Wayne Dyer, just a lot of people, everybody pretty much, even less spiritual people, even scientific people talk about this. We're getting your mind into the headspace of imagining what you want out of life to be happening right now. And this is something that happens during meditation. Meditation is really powerful. You put on some binaural beats and you just go to your happy place, just like in Happy Gilmore. You want to go to your happy place. What is the ideal version of you? What are you doing? What is your passion? Really putting yourself in that place and basking in it. Your brain doesn't really know the difference between what you're imagining and what you're seeing out of reality. It can have the same chemical effect on your body. So when I was doing that, that was shifting me away from the uncertainty and more into the desired future, the desired reality that I was choosing to experience. And when it comes to manifestation, that's usually the first step, is having that dream. And the next step is turning that dream into a vision. And the next step is having faith in that vision. This is another powerful tool that I learned from The Power of Positive Thinking, which was inherently like kind of a religious or Christian book, but this idea of having faith in what you're doing, that can really put to rest a lot of uncertainty, that having that faith that things are going to work out, everything's going to be okay. This is a positive outlook, again, but that is the type of thing that I was trying to course correct. So have that dream. Let's turn that dream into a vision, and let's have faith that the vision will happen. Number 3, and the most common thing, loneliness. This is something to this day I'm working with. We are all, a lot of the times, going to have periods of feeling lonely, especially if you're like me and you're still riding it out, white knuckling it as a single person and you're not doing the dating app thing. But to this day, this loneliness tends to be a plague, especially, with us guys. Men are very bad at being lonely. We do not know what to do besides going to a bar or going to the gym. Those are like the only two pieces of advice that men give each other when they're lonely. Let's go out to a bar or let's go to the gym. But, the reality is that loneliness is okay. It's really okay to be lonely. And I think what makes loneliness worse and what turns loneliness into a depression is the fact that we shame ourselves for it. We guilt ourselves for it. We're trying to get rid of this emotion like it's this hot potato rather than accepting it. Rather than accepting that, we're lonely and that's okay. And we'll go through this and we can come out on the other side. This type of perspective obviously is very hard when you have a negative ego. So that's why I put that as number one. But when you start to envelop, like we said earlier, your depression is a signal of your needs being unmet. When you're having needs not being met, boom, loneliness can hit, and it hits hard, and it hits successful people, it hits married people, it hits all types of people. Ultimately, what loneliness kind of needs to get met with is love, because that's what our body is asking us. Where is the love? Just like the Black Eyed Peas, where is the love? Where's the love? And when we have a partner in our life, sometimes that's something that can just reflect that back to us easily. But it's not always the case. And sometimes it can even be more troubling when that partner's in your life because you don't know how to feel lonely and have a partner at the same time. It's like conflicting. So again, you can shame yourself for it. But really steering into finding the love in your situation within you. This is what I was working with. How can I find the love within me and within my environment right now? If I put those glasses on my face and I tell myself, where is the love? Where can I find the love? A lot of times the answers will get reflected back at me. But if I have this idea that there is no love, if that's my belief that there is no love, then that's what's going to get reflected back at me. So, how I was finding the love? I was finding the love in what I was doing. Love what you do. If you're a creative person, if you're an artistic person, that outlet is everything. That passion is everything. You have to love what you're doing. Look at that last painting you did. Listen to that last album you put out. Show it to people, but you have to love that you're doing that. And that's what I was steering myself into. Instead of thinking about, I didn't get enough likes, or I don't have enough followers, or this and that, like the glass half full. Loving what you're putting out. I'm putting out a message that I want people to hear. And even if 3 people hear it and it resonates with them, I will snowball from there. Having faith in that vision. Also, volunteering. Volunteering is like a quick fix way of getting into that love because you are so appreciated. And I think that's what's happening with a lot of guys and women, everybody. They don't feel appreciated, especially if you're in a relationship. A lot of times not feeling appreciated causes loneliness, and then that causes uncertainty. Is this relationship going to work out? And then we tend to self-sabotage. But it's just a lack of feeling appreciated sometimes. That's everything, man. Being appreciated is so underrated. Lastly, I'm just going to say, loneliness, you need love. You need love. You need to find where the love is. Open up to people around you. Reconnect with your family. Call your grandma. Whatever you got to do to start feeling the love again in where you're at. You're not going to feel the love swiping on Tinder or, going to a bar and trying to drink through the loneliness. It doesn't work. It's like one of the most classic things that's like in movies right, of what people are telling each other to do. Oh, you just need to get on your feet, you know, rub some dirt on it and get back out there. But sometimes it's just like not. If you're introverted like me, like, yeah, that's not gonna do it. That's ignoring it and distracting yourself from it. What we need is to steer into it, accept it, be okay with it, not shame ourselves for it, and try to find the love. If you're digging this video and this message, I really hope you give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and see the other stuff I've been putting out. You know, depression is my main theme right now for the past few videos. And if you haven't seen, you can check this video out. This is the last video I did, which is 5 things that you can do right now if you're going through a depression. 5 things that you can do right now to start getting yourself out of it. Very easy stuff to get yourself into a routine again. And if you're an artist, an artistic person, this video is for you. This is why you are more prone to depression. Why artistic people and creative people are more depressed than other people. I break that down in this video. I will see you in those videos. Stay creative.